Hi, I'm Dr. Safaya, email marketing strategist and educator, and I am committed to making email marketing simple and profitable for you through my online email marketing school, Safaya Learning Hall. You can find the link in the show notes. Fun fact, I'm an obstetrician gynecologist resident in training. Yes, I'm an actual practicing medical doctor. Email marketing experiments was born out of the desire to share behind the scenes of failed and successful email marketing campaigns. Simply put, what we've tried, not just me, but me and every guest I bring on the show, what we've tried that has worked or didn't work. So instead of just thinking it and testing it, we're committed to also sharing the BTS with you on this podcast. Come join us behind the scenes. And one more thing, as you listen, if you're a freelancer, service provider, or business owner, go ahead and check the show notes for the gift I kept for you. You'll find it under the title Gift. Now let's go behind the scenes. Hey, listeners, welcome back to another episode of Email Marketing Experiments. And today's conversation is going to take a totally different direction than what we have been used to. Today, I have an AI business strategist, email marketing strategist, Klaviyo expert, someone who has over 20 years of entrepreneurial experience and so much more, pioneering e-commerce marketing strategy, early adopter of digital innovation in the house. And she's going to be taking us all the way back to the inception and to the future. I'm so excited to be having Kinga Dow in the house. It's a pleasure to have you, and I'm excited for our conversation. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me here. I'm excited for this conversation.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, you specialize in Klaviyo email marketing, AI architecture for e-commerce brands and marketing agencies, and you have over 20 years in digital marketing. Once I see this, the first thing that pops in my mind is like, how did we get here? Like, what's the story behind this? And, being able to do this for so long. 20 years is 2 decades. And so I'm like really excited. So, what's your story?
I jumped into digital marketing, website building the moment it sort of started, the moment internet started. I first started with website development, and that was over 10 years. And then I transitioned into digital marketing with focus on e-commerce and email marketing. And when it comes to email marketing, which is something that I want to talk more about. I am one of the first, as they called, OGs of Klaviyo. I started 2017, where the platform just barely started become popular. I was working with a client who has, at that point, Magenta website that was doing really bad. And I was trying to help him recover the business because he was about to go bankrupt. And so as I was working on his website and I was working on just the whole aspect of e-commerce and trying to understand what is happening with the customer journey and why he is losing so many sales, I stumbled across Klaviyo. And at that point, I remember Ezra Firestone was the first one who was talking about it. And so I was following him and I'm like, okay, I need to really see what this is about. And we were like first agencies that started using, one of the first few agencies that started using Klaviyo. I've installed this on his website, and we were immediately able to start recovering sales. So that's kind of how it all started. This gave me an opportunity to actually learn more about Klaviyo. They didn't have any resources then. I remember I had a training with someone, like a 3-week training. And once I understood all the opportunities and where this platform was going, I was completely sold on it. I knew this is going to be the future. And at that point, I decided to just drop everything else I was doing and focus directly on that.
Oh wow, oh wow. And when you mentioned Ezra first, and I was like, oh, I remember signing up for some of his stuff a while back. And I'm just wondering, I mean, you said you decided to drop everything you were doing and, go in this direction. So if maybe you weren't doing email marketing, is there something else maybe we'll find you doing, or maybe another path you could have taken?
Well, so as I said, I was doing website development. The space was becoming so saturated, and that's when everyone was doing WordPress and Shopify just started. At that point, I decided to take Neil Patel marketing course, which was phenomenal. It was kind of like a year of learning all the industry secrets that you can possibly imagine from Neil. And that opened up a completely different avenue for me when I started learning how to really convert a customer or convert a visitor, website visitor into a customer. And I started learning more about digital marketing. And I think that if I wouldn't do email marketing, I would have just been focused more on general on digital marketing. But when you learn digital marketing, they teach you about really narrowing down. I realized that I needed to find a niche. Then when I came across Klaviyo, that was just kind of like a no-brainer for me that this is really the direction I need to take. So I was sold on
Wow.
it.
Love it. And you've been doing this for over 20 years, entrepreneurial experience. I mean, I know that the Klaviyo thing started maybe after that, but I'm just wondering, you've seen the ups and downs of the industry. You've seen a lot of things come and go, things introduced, things phased out. How would you say the industry has evolved from when you first met it till date?
I would say the first thing from perspective I can see is the amount of information you can get now and learn than versus what it was before. Before, to actually learn something, you'd have to either go to school or pay a lot of money to actually understand, the spaces and learn about digital marketing or in general how the internet works. And to me, the biggest evolution is that everything is available right now. I mean, with YouTube resources and now the platforms putting out resources, because obviously Klaviyo wouldn't be where it is right now if they wouldn't heavily invest in their learning portion of their platform. So I think to me, this is the biggest change, that if you want to do something, everything is available, everything is possible. Where before, in order for you to learn something, you would have to either pay a lot of money or you would have to spend a lot of time on studying things. Where now you get these bits and pieces of information here and there, and you can put everything together. And truly, that the learning process is just so much faster. I think that would be probably one of the biggest changes in the industry. Not to mention just in general how everything is changing when it comes to technology. But technology always changes and always evolves. But the access to information that is actually enabling people to do something, to me, it would be the biggest impact.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I wasn't there back then, but just looking at it, yes, it's because sometimes we even feel like, there's information overload. Everything is just everywhere. Some things you can just get it within seconds. All you need to do is put it in and you get the data that you're looking for. But where do you see this going, especially in the way it's impacting email marketing, aside the fact that we can get information faster, learn faster, which helps us to maybe execute certain things faster. Where do you see this going as regards the future of email marketing?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question because you see, as I said before, there was no information and now there is an overwhelm of information. So it's kind of like we are seeing a completely different challenge because now everyone knows, everyone can access the information. So everyone can pretty much learn. And I think that now it's about being selective and really figuring out, really paying attention to where the market is going, how everything is evolving, so you can be smarter about the decisions of what to learn, right? Because now you can learn anything. So learn what is going to be your biggest advantage, going forward. Because what's good now, it doesn't necessarily means that is going to be good in the future. So I think a little bit kind of having that visionary perspective, the visionary mindset, where you can sort of learn for the future instead of for now, that would be probably, what I would advise. Because the way everything is changing right now is insane. I mean, pretty much every day something new is happening in digital marketing, especially with AI.
Wow. And I'm just thinking, so you in particular, right? You at some point in your journey, you decided to grow your own agency. And then after a while, you decided to scale down, right? And looking at this, a lot of times you see people go from one man freelancer to maybe business owner, and then they proceed to agency, and it seems to be like, will I say, almost a career trend kind of thing. But you did it like other way around, right? So it's like you did the agency, then you scale down, and now you're building something. So I'd like to hear, that side of the story and how that came about.
Well, this isn't really such a glamorous story because what's happened is, yes, I built the agency, but I realized that building agency, it's really not that easy. It's not that easy from the agency owner perspective because you have more challenges when it comes to the operation. And I think with me, what's happened is the operation aspect just wasn't working as I would like to. And that created a bigger challenge for me. And I felt like I needed to just take a few steps back and just kind of rethink and regroup. I feel that these days, by having majority of us have, remote teams, that is creating a challenge. Honestly, I wish I could have an office where everyone comes in and we have a culture and people, connect and we can collaborate, in person. Probably it would have been different, but for me, what's happened, and that was actually, to be honest with you, that was on Instagram. It was this trend at that time when people were creating these Instagram posts on how to trick your mouse, that it's actually moving. So you can trick the agency owner or whoever is kind of like monitoring, your work performance. So they had these videos going how to trick the mouse so the mouse is actually moving, because many agencies actually are tracking their employees to see their performance. And it's very difficult to really evaluate the performance in many cases. So I think, this combined with the performance just not being the way I would like this to be, and me not being really able to control it, I just decided to scale down and just, take a few steps back and figure out how to do it right. Because in the end, I am the person between the client and everyone else. So in the end, I take full responsibility for the team's performance. And so obviously, yes, I am fully responsible. And if I cannot really deliver on my promises, then I think I needed to just step back and reevaluate everything.
Yes, that's actually a very powerful one because it is a very important one, rather, being able to sit back and evaluate everything and take a decision. And that's really great. Now, in our prior conversation, the one we had before today, there was something you really said that struck me, right? And we were talking about, so now you are not just an email marketing specialist, you're not just a Klaviyo expert, you're also an AI business systems person, right? And so you said that you think the way to stay in business is to create an edge for yourself and
Yeah.
really understand AI tools. So leveraging them is what is going to give people, service providers, business owners, leverage not only to build for themselves but for the
Yeah.
future, because AI is no longer a taboo. And so I'm just wondering, like, I follow you on LinkedIn. I see that you do. In short, it's one of the things that even caught my interest when I got your AI intelligence system, and I see you talk a lot about AI. You're always doing. I mean, there are a lot of tips and tricks that you have developed with AI, from what you do with Asana to all the other things. But how have you brought AI into, will I say, email marketing, or how are you leveraging AI in email marketing in a bid to build for the future?
Right. So that's a very good question. And this will sort of go with what I said before, that I've realized a lot of things that are happening in the business, in the space. And I'm sure that many people are dealing with the same. That the space is oversaturated, and even now, when I see the people that are liking my posts or connecting with me, I look at their, subtitles and stuff. So it's important to really figure out how you can bring something new to the table. And I also see, many people struggle with this because there's just so much you can say about certain subjects. So for me, my learning from the agency was that if I am going to re-enter the space, I really need to bring something new to the table. Otherwise, I just blend in with everyone else. So I needed to figure out my own edge. I've always been sort of kind of like a visionary. I always had an instinct on what is going to become big. Not always I acted on it. So one of my life lessons was to next time I see or I send something to act on it. And that was with Klaviyo, what I did. And then when AI started, I think in 2023, like November. So I immediately jumped on it and I felt like I really need to understand this because if I won't, I will fall behind. But there was just ChatGPT at that point and everything was just really starting developing. So basically understanding the prompts, kind of like that stuff was what everyone was talking about. And then I just started really diving deeper into systems. And that's where I came across Claude. And that's how I started learning about, how to use AI for more than just writing copy or writing social media captions. And that's when I started understanding and putting things together. And yeah, so this is kind of how the concept of AI, I put one system together. I saw how incredible it is, when it comes to not only saving time, but also the intelligence that it's giving me. So it is a huge value to my clients because I can now give them much more relevant information than I did before. And so, yeah, and so I understood the value and I started kind of learning more about it. And I also feel like this is creating that sort of a edge for me, something different that I can offer to people. And hopefully it will also help them, build up their careers.
All right. And I'm just curious, like you use a lot of AI tools. I know that Claude is the one that I see you talk about the most, but I know that you explore a lot of other tools. Are there any experiments that you have tried out with AI and email, maybe in a campaign or in an automated sequence, maybe something that worked or didn't work?
So yeah, so this is kind of like what we were talking before. There is tons of tools, right? But if you do everything, you're never gonna become good at one thing. So that's why I started to fully focus on Cloud and Perplexity. So these are two of my favorite tools when it comes to strategy, writing, email marketing, because obviously there is now Nano Banana and all of this that can do other things, that are important when it comes to email marketing creatives. But I started, I used ChatGPT. I was also comparing both. I would use the same prompt for both and just see what kind of output I get. And definitely for me, with what I do and how I understand AI, Claude and Perplexity are the best. And I also, for me, it's also ethical issue because AI is very controversial subject. So I'm trying to use tools that are the most ethical when it comes to humanity, environment. And I feel like these two right now is what aligns with my values. And I feel really the safest using it. And I think it's important that I actually mention that. So
Yeah.
I don't really have anything kind of like a failed experiment because I tried Gemini. I also belong to some paid groups where we are learning from, let's say, other YouTubers that do a lot, and they introducing the AI agent. So like NN8 and Make and all kinds of other automations. So I know about them, and I do have a somewhat of a knowledge how to use it. I also use Gemini, but I am not that comfortable. Like for me, Claude and Perplexity, it gives me the best out of, maybe because I really kind of learned how to get the best out of it.
All right, all right. And then, so we don't just have Cloud and Perplexity, but we also have like email marketing softwares introducing AI into their infrastructure. For example, what Klaviyo is doing and all the other softwares. So how do you see that and, our work as email marketers?
Yeah, that's a good one. So yes, everything is going AI. The amount of functions that Klaviyo is introducing, with I think that pretty much everything is going to be a, I don't want to say automated, but it's just going to use artificial intelligence. So, from building segments, from you can now use Nano Banana in which is Remix, and within Klaviyo. Again, connecting Cloud to Klaviyo, which is you actually can work in Klaviyo using Claude. And I mean, there's just so many other fun. You can, the subject, the copywriting. I mean, pretty much everything is now you can do with AI, except maybe setting up pop-ups. But they also introduced just now something that they write. Actually, they injected some campaigns into my clients that are written by AI, ready already in Klaviyo. So what it is Klaviyo analyzed all my emails, analyzed my client, and actually wrote emails for me. So the copy was written, everything was set up. All I needed to do is just send it. I did change the images and I formatted the text a little bit, and these are performing really, really well. So there you go again, maybe even the campaigns are going to be all set up automatically in the near future. So I think that, and even, with strategy, I talk to many people. I see strategy. Claude can do a full strategy for you, So not only that can do full strategy, but I talk a lot about using Asana because you get so much information that it's important to immediately put this information into the management system, or you can organize everything. Otherwise, you're just gonna get lost. But yeah, no, this is incredible. I do full audits with Claude, that would take you a couple days. I'm just doing like in 5 hours, and it's not only that there is a full audit, but it's all set up in Asana, and it's all with briefs, with data, with stats, everything is right there, plus recommendations what to do. So when you think about all of this, when you think about how everything is evolving. At Klaviyo, actually, they are doing something, Klavioton or something like that. I don't remember the name, but they are gathering all the best developers to actually do some whatever they can think of with the code to, let their imagination go loose and just code whatever. So who knows what this is going to bring? Maybe they are going to come up with a full image builder that you will just, you don't even need to deal with putting things together. I mean, I don't know. I am able in Cloud to already put the whole email together in Klaviyo, but it doesn't look good, right? So, and then you do have these other platforms that connect directly to Shopify and will pull the data from Shopify and will actually build the whole email for you as well. So yeah, so everything pretty much is going to be done by AI. I would give like another 6 months, and that's that.
Now, this is a whole lot of things that are being done by AI, and we have a lot more people coming into the email marketing industry. Um, I've interacted with people who are starting, people who are transitioning, people who are growing. So, what does this mean for them? Because the way you've painted this picture is like AI is literally doing everything. So, how do these people still stay relevant, or how do they view themselves with all of this?
Right, right. So yeah, no, this is a very good question, and this is a true, issue that everyone should think of before they do anything. So the opportunities I see here are moving beyond the usual. So, if you are a copywriter, don't look for a job as a copywriter because AI can write copy. Where you can bring the value is by organizing the copy, by editing the copy, or your job would be to work with AI to produce the copy, which you would be able to produce it, let's say, 3 or 4 times faster or more copy. So understanding how to work AI and understanding how to not only generate, edit, make it better, but then also put it in a format that makes everybody else's life easier, or put it in a format then another AI tool can take and do the next thing with it. So I think if you start thinking from that perspective or that direction, then suddenly your job is relevant. But you cannot just be a copywriter, because, for example, I would not hire a copywriter anymore. And the copywriters I had, and I remember the way I would get the documents, it would just be a mess. Um, so because they would just kind of like um, feel like their job is just writing copy, and there was just nothing more to it, no strategy really, or anything like this. So I think that would be important to really understand more about the whole business, understand more about customer journey, and I feel like there's a huge demand for strategists, and that is, I don't know what they all are, but that is what people are looking for the most right now. And so that's what I would suggest, just really focusing on elevating your whatever make sure you can do it better with AI. And another thing that I don't want to overlook the fact that Klaviyo is coming up with new features, and they are not AI. They just came up with a WhatsApp marketing, and they came up with the call customer service platform. I don't know exactly what it is, but there are new opportunities, right? But also these are run by AI. So, learning all of these new tools, staying really current on what is happening, in the industry, and really trying to be proactive. That is probably the only thing that would save many people's jobs. You cannot be complacent. You cannot just keep waiting. You have to be proactive, and you need to go out there and start educating yourself. And who knows? Maybe there is going to be some new opportunities that people can create for themselves within the space, like I did, with that, as I call it, the AI architect, which my job is, because I know email marketing so well and I know Klaviyo, I can sort of architect how to use AI, how to use Claude and Perplexity and other tools in building full systems, right? The systems that many people don't even think about right now that you can do. So I sort of invented a job for myself to kind of positioning myself, have a little edge over, what everyone else is doing, right? So I think that is another opportunity that people can look into.
Oh, I find that one pretty interesting. Being able to reinvent um an opportunity for yourself. So now I'm thinking we've talked about repositioning, requalifying ourselves. But are there resources or tools that you recommend to help people? Because in the beginning you talk about learning and taking out time to really learn. And with the advent of AI, the evolution of email marketing industry, are there recommended resources or things that people who want to offer email marketing as a service in whatever capacity it is should be looking to learn, or where they should be looking to learn this thing?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, the probably one of the biggest reasons why Klaviyo is so successful is they invested in producing the learning tools so agencies and people like us can learn and do and use the platform. So that kind of, I feel like they were the first ones that invested so heavily, and that enabled, that's why we have so many email marketers right now, because they really enabled everyone to learn. But I think that this trend is now spilling everywhere else. So, but definitely I would say Klaviyo Academy and YouTube.
Okay, so Clearview Academy and YouTube. Now, so far, you've told us that we need to really invest in learning with our time. Even if we're not doing that with our money, we need to be proactive so that we can be aware of the trend and act on it. And then we need to leverage AI in everything that we are doing. Now, I'm just looking at it. We've seen AI tools help us in terms of building campaigns, setting up systems, writing copy. Do they help or play a part when it comes to the deliverability side of email marketing and being able to get into the inbox to, increase email open rates, ensure more people see your emails in the first place so that it can help you get better chances of like conversion?
Yeah, it does, and actually has a huge role, because let me give you this example. First of all, it can help you analyze your data. It's speed up the process, and it can make things that you don't quite understand, it can really clarify it for you. So for example, when I am kind of focusing mainly now on using advanced marketing analytics in Klaviyo, it is easier for me to take this data and run it by Claude, and it will analyze certain things for me. And also when I'm getting, data from GA4 or any other reports. And so this right away gives you somewhat of a more clarity and understanding which direction to go, right? So that would be one thing with analyzing data. It's able to give you way more with less resources. What does it mean is that you have ability to test more, to set up more strategies, to set up more flows, for example. And when it comes to strategies, it's crazy. I mean, the ideas that comes out, I was just talking with my client yesterday who I introduced to AI, and, I was showing her the whole Black Friday, Cyber Monday strategy, let's say for pop-up. And not only that, I have 4 different pop-ups for the mystery gift or the gift guide or exit intent or VIPs. So that's one set, let's say, of different offers that are all ready for you and written. But I also have another set of, based on segments, based on where they are. And so suddenly something that would take hours for somebody to not only come up with the strategy, but also come up with the copy, it's done in a few minutes. And now maybe I need to stress that where I see a huge opportunity is for people that can actually put all of this into action. So you take all of the information. We need more people that can put it together, in Klaviyo, because you will be able to get more, you can test more, and you can come up with ideas that, even the best team might not be able to come up. So for me, I was able to double my clients' results the moment we started using advanced marketing analytics. And then because I was using, the advanced marketing analytics, and we introduced the RFM system, then I was able, because of the RFM, I needed to write more flows for all of the different segments. And it was much easier to write the segments. It was much easier to come up with the strategy. And all of this allow us to double our results because we're working smarter instead of harder. I did it like increase the click rates or anything like that? I don't think so, because you are providing the same, right? Whether copy or, but I think it's more, for me, it's more about system. It's more about efficiency. It's more about truly intelligence that I was always lacking. I was always lacking that team, and I don't mean to offend anyone, that would come up with these like super intelligent, strategies that otherwise would take somebody, a good few days to think of, or there's just, not that many people that kind of get the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I do.
I just want to stress one thing. You really, really deal with higher intelligence. I know it sounds crazy. The amount you get of information and strategy and just everything is just like, I feel like a regular human brain, it's not really possible to do it and do it that fast. It would take several people to actually come up with something like that.
Definitely, it does speed up processes and save us a lot of time. Now, you really touched on something that is quite dear to my heart, and you mentioned it as you were going. You talked of advanced marketing analytics and the RFM segmentation method. I've heard you talk about the advanced marketing analytics. I've heard you talk about using AI to, help with what it is you're doing. And then because of that, you're creating more segments based on recency, the frequency, monetary, RFM system. But I would like for us to make it a bit more practical. So somebody listening to this, for example, can not just hear it, but actually visualize it and know that this is how to do it. So if we're looking at advanced marketing analytics and integrating with an AI tool, for example, let's say the person isn't using Klaviyo that can do that whole audit for them. Is there a way they can use maybe Claude or Perplexity or any AI tool to get that or something near the advanced marketing analytics?
Yeah, so again, the reason I work with Cloud is also because it's got these, we call the MCP connectors, right? Which is, it connects directly to the platform. So it connects directly, it goes inside Klaviyo and it can read the data, can read, like when I'm doing audits, it pulls 90 days of analytics from each flow. So it gives me a full breakdown of the numbers, how not only each flow is performing, but how each email is performing. And the way I kind of demonstrate is that, it also gives me the trigger warnings, like you need to work on this first because this really, the numbers are really, really bad. So yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, that people, AI, the LLMs, it's basically what it's called the AI, conversational AI. And the reason it's called conversational AI, because you are supposed to really solve your problems or your work by having a conversation. But you see, here's the thing. If you don't know what questions to ask, you're not going to get the right answer. So you do need to have the knowledge of the subject. You need to, when we're talking about email marketing, you really need to know email marketing in order for you to be able to come up with the right questions to get the right answers and solutions. So I think that people, you start with understanding how everything is, let's say, connected, right? And then how you can work from within AI in other platforms. Because like I said, I use it with Klaviyo. I can set up Asana through Claude. I can set up Notion through Claude. So basically, what's happening is I talk to Claude and I tell Claude, go and build me this board in Asana, and it will just do it for me, right? I think this is something that lots of people still don't understand, that that's possible. I kind of lost your question, but I think you were asking me how to help people really start doing things, right? Instead of just, because it can be quite overwhelming. So to give maybe some examples how to start. And I think that it would be, like I said, there's a lot of resources. I put a lot of resources. I put a lot of like sort of tutorials that it walks you step by step how to do it. So I think that's just the only way to start practicing and kind of, get your hands dirty, get in there and start exploring and learn. That's the only way I can say, to do it. Did I answer the question?
Oh yes, you did. Now, I was scrolling through your website when I think that was the initial time when I found you, and then later on, and you have a lot of amazing case studies and a lot of resources there. And one of the things that really stood out to me was when you were talking about the return on investment for email marketing when it comes to working with you. You mentioned this 40x. And then we all know that statistics say that email marketing gives you 36x to 42x. And I was just wondering, when it comes to helping businesses get, that kind of return on investment with email marketing, are there ways you're also leveraging AI to be able to ensure that you're able to help those businesses really make profit so that their business is sustainable and keeps serving its purpose?
Yeah, so to be honest, the numbers on my website are kind of old, but they pretty much kind of how it should be, I suppose. I mean, I've calculated them. These are not just numbers from my head, but they haven't been updated. So they haven't been updated with, since I started working with AI. But I will tell you though that the clients that I am working with AI, we are seeing a dramatic growth, dramatic increase in email attribution, but not only in email attribution, but in general, because I try to help with other things as well. Yes, like I already mentioned, that by utilizing advanced marketing analytics, which I think it's a huge, because not everybody really understands that model. Not everybody, the importance of customer lifetime value and, numbers like this. So when you work with advanced marketing analytics and you dig deeper and you base it more on the RFM system, which is all about increasing customer lifetime value. And then you have, let's say, Claude that can help you even calculate it, because before it would be much more difficult to even figure out what is customer lifetime value. And I can now export my customers from Klaviyo with their amount of purchases or the amount of spend with their AOV, and I can upload it to Claude, and it's going to calculate for me the customer lifetime value. But not only, it can calculate the low, middle, and high, So it's just, again, it gives you so much more data that otherwise it would be much more difficult to pull. So you get all the data, and now suddenly, you get all these additional opportunities that you can segment. Then, what people are doing with the engaged and disengaged and buyers and non-buyers, right? You can segment people in so many additional ways. And yes, definitely. I actually published a case study that's not on my website, but I published on LinkedIn, like a month or so ago, that, yeah, the revenue, I've been working with this client for like 2 years now, or no, a year and a half. I mean, we doubled email marketing revenue, but the business actually also doubled, year over year. So yes, definitely a huge advantage.
Definitely a huge advantage. Now, we like to create content on the podcast because we know not everybody is at the same level. So you use CLV, right? Customer lifetime value. So when you say CLV, what exactly do you mean?
Oh, well, customer lifetime value. So this is how much the customer spent over time with you. And the idea in e-commerce is to try to increase your customer lifetime value as much as possible, meaning that you don't want to have just one-time customers, because these are the most expensive customers. They usually, you spend money on ads or you spend money on traffic, and the first purchase most time is not profitable. So the idea here is to have this customer keep coming back and make as many purchases as possible. Let's say the second purchase, he's already in your CRM. You don't need to spend money on acquiring this customer, right? So at this point, you're becoming, profitable. So in e-commerce, the idea here is that if you want to grow your business, you really need to work on increasing your customer lifetime value, meaning you don't want to have just one-time buyers. You want to have 2, 3, try to make as many purchases as possible. And that's where the subscription business probably is just so great, because, the customer just automatically keeps buying every month, right? But that is the concept in e-commerce. You really want to maximize the amount of purchases. So that's what we call customer lifetime value. But this is also calculated by the average order value and how many times a person has purchased. So it depends on your inventory. You can have several different type of customer lifetime value, because there are some customers that will just be buying small product. I have a customer that has a sporting goods store, 9 retail locations, and and e-commerce, and they have customers that just buy things that's like $50, and then they are customers that buy shoes that are like $300, right? And so you can also segment them by low CLV, which is they buying a lot, but they always buying smaller products. And then you have those that are, let's say, a high CLV. Let's say they only buying the shoes, $300 shoes, but they buying them every 6 months, right? So that's basically what this is. I don't know if I maybe over-explain, but yeah. So the whole concept, it's based on it. And Klaviyo, it gives you the CLV. They give you the predicted customer lifetime value, historical customer lifetime value. So maybe they do, but if you don't have this, you can just basically export all your buyers with their AOV and the amount of purchases. And then instead of putting it into a spreadsheet and doing the calculations, you can just put everything, upload everything into Cloud and say, calculate the CLV for me.
And that's the power of AI and leveraging AI to work smarter.
Exactly.
That's
Because
so good.
now the task that would take you, several, like an hour or an hour and a half, you can get it done in 10 minutes. Let me give you another really quickly example, because I think this is probably one of the best examples. I have a customer who's got a custom website, and they using Klaviyo and we using coupon codes, but unfortunately, we need to first generate the codes. We need to actually generate the codes in like a third-party website that just generates the code. Then you need to convert them into Excel spreadsheet and upload them into their custom website. And then you need to convert this into a CLV, different format, simplified format, and upload all of these into particular discount codes. Let's say we have 10 discount codes. Imagine how much work it is. Just for me to start doing it, I had a headache just thinking that now I have to spend 2 hours of this confusing, coupon codes here. It was a nightmare, right? So one day I sat down and I'm thinking, AI, it's all about numbers. There's gotta be a way that it can create this for me, that it can create my website, that I built an environmental calculator, which was also based on spreadsheets. There was a long time ago, spreadsheets that were behind and people were able to calculate. So I know the calculation system exists. So I asked Claude, can you build me the system? Took a little bit because I needed to refine it, but let's say in about 2 hours, I've built a full calculator that all I need to do is just say that I need to click which codes I want. And it's built in a way that it's going to generate the master sheet that is going into the website and separate Klaviyo sheets with CSV that are going into a separate code. So now for me to generate the codes, it takes me 2 minutes. I'm not kidding you. So when you think about how AI can help you, well, this is probably the best example, because I simplified the whole process, that now something that was a huge headache and it took like 2 hours, I get it done in 5 minutes.
And that's just beautiful. So is there any email marketing myths that you like to break? We see people believing in a lot of things, following a lot of things, some of them not so correct, others more correct. But is there any email marketing myth that you like to break or bust, whichever you prefer?
No, not really. I don't look at things that way. No, I don't really have anything. Everything is evolving. So maybe one thing that used to people do a lot, they would put these screenshots of Klaviyo that say, this is the revenue and this is the attributed revenue by Klaviyo. And that was kind of like, a long time ago, people would always post, and that just kind of shows how well you do. And this is, people finally stopped doing this, because doesn't necessarily, if you showing that your email attribution is 50, 60, 70%, then means that your other channels are underperforming, right? So this is nothing to be really raving about. This is the only thing that I remember. I cannot really even think of anything right now. No, not really.
Okay, so is there a recommended percentage or rate? You just talked about attribution now. So when it comes to email marketing in the e-commerce world, is there like a baseline where it's like your email has to be performing at least this point, and then you can optimize it from there?
Yeah, so you see, it depends on your size of the list, and it depends on how much revenue your store is generating. Because if this is not proportional, then obviously your numbers are going to be different. So you really need to understand a bigger picture. But to be kind of like the average, and also now because we have SMS with Klaviyo, that could shift. But I would say that I think it's still the kind of like a 30%, 25, 30%. I think that still stands, that in a healthy store, if you have other channels working, that should be kind of like the attribution. I think that when you have a much higher, like, 8-figure, 7-figure, that could be like maybe 20 in 20s or something like that. But I think between like 25 and 30, that should be like the healthy. And then if you're adding SMS to it, that should add another like, 5 to 10 extra percent to your attributed revenue. But I think if you're going for like, 50, 60, 70, right away that there's just no traffic. They're not bringing traffic from other channels. There's just something wrong. Because if
Okay.
email is generating, majority of the revenue for the whole store, then yeah, that's definitely, there's a red flag. There's a problem somewhere else.
Okay. And now I'm just thinking, so in the context of AI again, let's say a store is bringing in about 3 to 5% of revenue, email marketing, and that is not up to the baseline of 25 to 30. Using, all these different things we have talked about today, what will be the first step you'll take?
Oh, well, no, that you cannot really look at it that way. So if the store is bringing just 3 or 5, that means that they don't have any email marketing system set up, right? So you still need to do the basic, the basic setup, all the flows, marketing calendar, regular cadence with your email campaigns and forms and all of this, right? And but where AI comes in, it can help you speed up the process. Maybe you can look at it also from an ROI point of view, where you could get away with less people. I'm sorry to say that. Because you will have AI to generate the copy, let's say, the strategy, but you still need somebody who is going to create definitely you need a graphic designer. Definitely you need somebody who's going to put this all together. But the copy and the strategist is going to, AI can help. It can take that role. But you still need somebody who is going to put the whole system together. And if they are only bringing 3-5%, that means that they basically don't have a system, that there is something wrong with their email. Or they might have a system, but they have an email deliverability issue, which I had it happen with a customer, and all their emails were going to spam. So then, if you have what is your deliverability status?
Okay. That's definitely something to look into.
Yeah.
All right. So I think my final question before we wrap this up would be, we've talked so much about advanced marketing analytics. If you could choose just one email marketing metric, what number or what metric would that be?
Well, I guess, when I said everything, there would be, actually, no, you know what? It would be probably revenue per recipient. That would be probably the most important metric. And then customer lifetime value. And then, of course, we are looking at the purchase because, but I think that the revenue per recipient really kind of gives you a good understanding where your email marketing is at. Because if you're sending less emails, but you're generating higher revenue, that means that you are targeting the right people, right? And that everything is working properly. So I think that would be probably one of the most important metric to pay attention to. But I don't want to say just this one, because obviously the sales are the most important. This is the ultimate goal. So you're looking at the sales first, making sure that you do get the sales, but then you look at the customer lifetime value to make sure that your retention is working, because you could be getting sales just by sending a lot of discount codes, right? And people are buying. So you want to make sure that you're getting the revenue you're supposed to. Then you're looking at the customer lifetime value. This is the indicator that tells you that your retention is working. And then you're looking at revenue per recipient, which is the metric that tells you that you're sending the right amount of emails and you're not oversending, or you're sending, the quality is there, so people are converting. The higher the revenue per recipient, that's the indicator that you're sending less, but you're generating more. I think that would be probably the best way to describe it.
Okay, okay. We've had such a very insightful and amazing conversation, and I want our listeners to be able to find you. So, where can we connect with you? Where can we find you?
So there's probably the best way would be LinkedIn. Right now, I just feel like LinkedIn and YouTube are the best resources. I don't think really websites are that relevant anymore, but YouTube, I have a YouTube channel where I try to put as much as possible. It takes time to produce these videos, so that's time consuming. But YouTube and LinkedIn, that would be great if people can connect with me there.
Okay, and we'll also be adding the links in the show notes. This has been a powerful conversation. There is a lot to take from it. But just in case you've forgotten, remember three things: we have to keep learning, investing both our time, our money to keep learning. We have to stay proactive so that with the changing tides and the evolution, we are not left behind. And most importantly, we need to start learning to leverage AI in everything we are doing, from our advanced marketing analytics to how we approach email marketing and how we create systems to be able to work smarter, better, and get more results. So all the links will be in the podcast show notes. Every single link you need, our website, LinkedIn, YouTube, so that you can just see all the things that I've been seeing and get to enjoy the resources that I've also been enjoying and get to learn more about leveraging AI and staying relevant in this fast changing world. Thank you so much once again, and it has been a pleasure.
Thank you. I just want to say excellent summary. I'm impressed how well you summarized this. That's exactly stay proactive. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
It was great talking with you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And we look forward to having you some other time, maybe on another topic.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right.
Hi, Dr. Safaya here. Thank you so much for listening to yet another episode of Email Marketing Experiment. I'm going to ask a favor. Please leave a rating and a comment on this podcast. It goes a long way to help increase visibility for our podcast so that we can reach even more people. Till next time, this is still Email Marketing Experiment. Think it, test it, and share it.